Today we're gonna try chips that are made out of crickets. We've got sea salt, barbecue, cheddar. It looks like a normal chip. It tastes like a chip. It tastes like a really good chip. So today we're eating chirps, which are chips made out of crickets, because we're gonna go interview the CEO and co-founder, Rose Wang. She's one of the 3 women behind this company that is making me really excited to eat food with bugs in it.
Our cricket chips, or chirps, have 7 grams of protein for 140 calories. That's like a protein bar. Not to mention, they're low fat, non-GMO, and gluten-free.
And also, let's just talk about the business side. She's been on Shark Tank, where they got a deal with Mark Cuban.
We won over $200,000 at pitch competitions. Wow.
And she's helped her company take this product that everybody said, you're never gonna get anybody to eat that, much less buy that. And she's gotten it in stores across the country. All right, let's go ask her some questions. So many bags. We have so many bags for this shoot. Why do we have so many bags?
We're heading down to LA. We have another shoot tomorrow, and we're wrapping this series up. It's the grand finale.
Can you give like a sound effect? And scene. We're actually doing back-to-back shoots. Why would you book back-to-back shoots, Mary? That seems real dumb. Because when we pitched people to come and be on the show, we didn't really have like a track record of producing a show like this. We didn't have a built-in audience, so we were just like, you name a time, you name a day, and we will be there. We'll make it work. Also, because we're crazy. So all the energy that I have right now is just fake. It's just all adrenaline, because I feel actually like a zombie. I can confirm that you can be awake and asleep at the same time, because it's happening. And I don't say this because I want you to feel like I'm such a hero or a martyr for doing this. I'm actually an absolute idiot, and here's why. During the show, Miles, you have been such a ride or die partner. I mean, look at you, like going over the pack list one last time while we got 5 minutes before we have to leave. Seriously, we got 5 minutes. We gotta leave at 8:30. Which means I got 5 minutes to try to make some brilliant point. Oh yeah, I am an idiot. So Miles, he's been a ride or die partner, but I have also tried to do like all the creative stuff on my lonesome. Like, I've tried to do all the things, which is stupid as hell. I don't understand why I continue to try to do that. It makes no sense. Over and over, I have done that in my business and in my video projects. And you know what happens? I get real burnout. I can't do all the things I want to do as phenomenally as I want to do them, but somehow I just keep trying to. It's like I keep touching a hot stove, I burn the hell out of myself, but then I'm like, I'm gonna try it one more time, because I don't think it's the stove. It might not be the stove, but goddamn it, it's the stove, and I need to stop doing everything on my own. Managing people, leading a team, that intimidates me. And part of doing the show is to get around women who inspire me, but also honestly intimidate me a little bit. Through these interviews, being face to face, not just looking up at somebody, but also looking at somebody, and knowing that several of them are leading teams and managing teams, it makes me feel like I can do it.
I am a new immigrant, so I have a friend. Okay,
Yeah.
nice to meet you.
And Mary, nice to meet you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometime we are find a place. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. To the lunch to the some people. Yes.
That was cool. We just made a friend in the lift. Mouse speaks Chinese, and the guy was learning English. Then they were just
Chatting away.
They were chatting away.
Let me see you do.
I definitely want to see you dance. I need some hand movements. Okay, so we just got to the location where we're shooting Rose's interview. I gotta whisper because I'm in the hallway and there are other people working. Obviously, this says breather.com on the door, which is not Chirps Chips, which is Rose's company. And I know the show is all about going to where the entrepreneur works, but Chirps Chips right now is in between offices. And so what the show is really about is true life, and that's the true life of an entrepreneur. So we in a breather.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's Mary, and we're back with the 7th episode. I can't believe we're on 7 episodes of the Sheleader Show, and today I'm sitting with one of my favorites, Rose Wang. Say hey to the internet, Rose.
Hello.
So, at some point in your life, you decided, I want to make my life all about crickets. I want to make my life all about bugs. When did you say, like, this is the idea?
I don't think it's something that happens, there's no like moment. For me, it all started with my co-founder, who was my college roommate, and she was studying abroad in Tanzania, and she saw a street vendor selling fried caterpillars.
Insects were an answer to years of searching. I've been on and off vegetarian my whole life, wondering if there was a moral, sustainable way to get protein. When I went to Tanzania one summer, I ate a caterpillar, and it was love at first taste.
And her first thought was, hey, this tastes like lobster, which actually makes a lot of sense because insects and crustaceans are very closely related. So when she got back to the US, she started researching, okay, why are people eating bugs in Tanzania and not here in the US? And that's when we found out that insects are one of the most sustainable protein sources.
As it turns out, eating insects is super sustainable.
So should I not be making this burger?
Well, it takes about 1 gallon of water to make 1 pound of crickets. But to produce a pound of beef, it takes,
Don't tell me,
2,000 gallons. So eating a quarter pounder is like showering for an hour and a half.
I'm from Kunming, China, which is a part of the world that eats insects pretty regularly. And I realized, like, this is so crazy that here's a solution that is eaten by 2.5 billion people across the world, but not in the Western world where we actually eat the most amount of meat. So we really need to bring that culture here.
What were you doing? Where were you at in your life when this idea came to you?
So I was in college and I was studying psychology. I really had no sense of what I wanted to do with my life.
You didn't know you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
I think it was hot, right? Like I went to Harvard and Mark Zuckerberg went to Harvard and the Harvard Innovation Lab just started. It was very popular, but ultimately, I think it always went through my mind that like, I need to have a secure job and like money and stability before I could think about starting my own business.
That's kind of funny though, because not only did you go into starting your own business, but you start a business that's about something that a lot of people probably told you like, girl, you crazy, right?
Totally. But something happened at my senior year. So I'd worked in a lot of these internships before, like corporate internships. I'd worked at Microsoft. I really loved my experience, but again, I was just another person out of, hundreds of thousands. And I was thinking, really, like, what impact do I have? And my senior year, I actually got really sick. All I could think about when I was in the hospital was, I'm missing recruiting. Like, this is the worst thing in the world. I didn't really think about my health. I couldn't care less about, my life. I was just worried that I wasn't gonna get that consulting job. And I remember talking to my friends about it, and they told me that my priorities were just totally screwed up. That I was just totally in a different world. And I think when you're like faced with a huge health crisis and you don't know what's gonna happen, I started thinking about my life and what it meant. Like, does it really matter if I have a job at McKinsey? Like, does it matter at all that I lived?
That's perspective.
Huge perspective.
When Rose told me about eating bugs, I was surprised. I'd eaten insects in 10th grade science, but it was hard for me to imagine others could get past the yuck factor. So we had to design the tastiest snack in the world to help others get used to the idea. Our secret recipe has been approved by the world's toughest critics.
Bugs are super good. Bug chips are extra good. It's made of that one.
I want to ask you about some tactical business steps that you took. Like I read somewhere that you called like 399 manufacturers before somebody said yes. Like talk to me about some of the obstacles that you faced.
The first thing is that we are first-time entrepreneurs. So we'd never started a business before, and we didn't really have anyone around us who had. So the first place we ran was the Harvard Innovation Lab when we had an idea. But this was a huge idea, which is let's get people to eat bugs. The biggest hurdle and the first hurdle that we had to get over is how do you get people to eat bugs? When we had the idea, we ran to the local pet shop, ordered some like crickets and mealworms and waxworms that you would feed to your pet lizard or something, because that was the only place we knew how to procure insects. We took it to our dorm room, fried it up, and tried to feed it to our friends. And it was a complete disaster. Everyone like freaked out, didn't tell anyone we were serving this.
That sounds like it's a good prank show.
Yeah, exactly, except that we were serious. Laura and I were like, come on guys, this is great. And they're like, no.
Oh my God, so by the end of the night, you're like, okay, this is what we're up against.
Exactly, yeah, it was like, this isn't gonna work. I think had we realized how hard it was then, we probably would have stopped. But I think all we thought was like, okay, this was like the wrong form. Like, let's try a different form. So sometimes, you know, I think ignorance is bliss and it keeps you going. We tried so many different things, frying them, dehydrating them. We even tried fermenting them. And it was just so weird. I think it was like after a couple months, we're like, this smells like cheese. At that point, we're like, okay, we don't have any culinary experience. We're not chefs. So how do we make this? So we actually just started emailing all the chefs in Boston and just asking them, hey, do you have free time to work with us? Most of them didn't respond, of course. But a few did, and we met a chef who was looking for a side project to work on.
Hello, my name is Jeff Lucas. I'm a professional chef and I've been cooking now for about 15 years with experience ranging from smaller casual type establishments up to Michelin star restaurants.
I remember the first meeting we were really nervous because we were like, oh my gosh, what is he gonna say? So we just brought him our fried bugs and he was so intrigued. And then he got all his other chefs, he's like, hey guys, come down, let's eat some bugs. And everybody was all into it.
Were you ever scared sending those emails to people? I know there are a lot of people who want to reach out and take the steps to make their business idea happen, but they are sitting at the keyboard scared, you know?
Yes. And I think for us, we were really scared as well, but because we had no clue, we're like, okay, we have to do this or else it's not gonna move forward. And I think that's the best thing about starting a business that I learned is that you start with one step. Because if you look at like 20, you know, like down the road, we're gonna have to have a product on shelves, it just feels so overwhelming. But if you start with step one, which is like, I'm gonna email one chef, you know, and then another, and then they pass you on, that's what starts the ball rolling.
Okay, raising money. You're a boss at raising money, you and your team. I was watching on Shark Tank, y'all said you'd raised over $200,000 in pitch competitions. That allowed you to bootstrap. On Shark Tank, you got a deal from Mark Cuban.
We got a deal from Mark Cuban.
What does it take to pitch people successfully?
That takes us all the way back to the beginning. So again, we had this chef, we had this big idea. So we went to a conference and we met up with an investor. This is our first time. We'd emailed him beforehand. We're like, we'd love to sit down and talk to you. So we sat down, we're like, we want to eat bugs. And he looked at us, he's like, I've been an investor for 10 years and this is the worst idea I've ever heard. And he's like, nobody's gonna eat bugs. There's no market here. And we were crushed, totally crushed. And I think again, at that moment, we could have walked away, right? Like, okay, there's no money here, what are we doing? But all Laura and I could think about was like, well, if we had a spectrum of people who would eat bugs and there was like the Queen of England on one side, which we think is like pretty conservative and not going to, he'd probably be pretty close to the Queen. So maybe we need to just find the people who are on the other side, like Laura and I, to get the ball rolling. So because we couldn't find an investor, we said, okay, you know what? We're gonna put this on Kickstarter. We're gonna raise our money on Kickstarter, but also it could help us prove our market. In the long run, we hope to make insects a cornerstone of our diet. But to start this movement towards a healthy, sustainable protein, we need your help to take it to the next level.
Because really, what we're doing now isn't a long-term solution. Sorry.
And so our goal was like, okay, let's raise $30,000, which is what we needed to make a first run of our chips. It was the largest goal that we had actually really seen on Kickstarter. Most food projects were like $5,000 or $10,000. But for us, it was a necessity. We needed to create a chip in a factory, not just in a commercial kitchen. So we needed a big chunk of money in the beginning. But luckily, we beat our goal. We were one of the most funded food Kickstarters and raised about $70,000. And that was enough for us to really get the idea started. And it was through, I think, our Kickstarter campaign when we started hearing back from customers from all over the world and understanding why they were interested in our project, what specific elements, was it the protein, was it the sustainability that really drew them to it, and that we started being able to craft our pitch so that by the time we did end up on Shark Tank, we had our story down and it was, you know, it was gonna, we thought it was gonna go well.
Hi, Sharks. My name is Rose Wang. I'm from San Francisco, California, here seeking $100,000 for 7% of my company called... Oh, God. Chirps, the first ever cricket chip. My God. Hi.
Shark Tank is the most real reality show I think you're gonna ever watch. You walk out, the sharks don't know anything about you or your business, and these are real investors who want to put their own money into your company. It was like a real diligence process that was happening, except that there were all these cameras pointed at you, so it was so much more intimidating.
So this year we're going to end the year with about $200,000.
Okay, and next year, what do you think you can do?
We think we can do 1.5 million.
That's quite a jump. Why would that be? Based on what?
And what's hard is there's 5 of them, and so they're like throwing questions at you. And I think for us, the most nerve-wracking was the first point where they tried our product. Because you never know what they're gonna say. They could be like, this is disgusting, which is what they've done in the past with a lot of different companies. So,
And you know everybody's watching.
everyone's watching, and there's nothing, you can't go back and say, okay, can we like redo this? The cameras keep rolling. I honestly couldn't sleep for like days before because I was just so terrified that moment.
Who wants to chip in the future and try some chirps? Bon appetit.
Okay, so we're going to try these.
Yeah, absolutely.
You taste them, people would buy them. The flavor's great, particularly a barbecue. I thought it was really tasty.
The moment I realized if they tried our chips and then said it was good, we felt good. Because then
You're
I
like,
was
I'm riding down this ladder.
Exactly.
Branding. Your branding is amazing.
Thank
and
you.
it has to be, you know, because like you said, you had this uphill battle to get people to eat bugs. I just saw that you got on this HBO show, Shark Tank, obviously. Like, your merch is amazing. So tell me, what's the secret to good branding?
What we did was we actually hired a designer that came out with 4 very different designs. One was like very sleek, like very black and chic. One was anti-establishment, very much like Chipotle, like there's so much writing all over the packaging. And then one was more like the one that we have now, which is much more cute.
Oh, that bug is my friend in my head.
Exactly. And what we did was created a survey that was based on, you know, would you buy this? What did you notice most? We didn't ask them if they liked it. That's a very crucial part of branding is you don't ask people if they like something. You ask them what stands out most. What do they remember? If you really do ask the right questions and pay attention to what attracts your customers, you already automatically have a better sense of where you want to take your branding.
So what have you learned about yourself through entrepreneurship?
So entrepreneurship is such a buzzy word that a lot of people use, and it's very glamorized. The day-to-day to entrepreneurship is really difficult. Most of it is the nitty-gritty. You mentioned earlier that when we first had to find a manufacturer, we had to call 400 manufacturers, a little bit more, but that's like, 400 no's before you get a yes. And that can be really draining and tough on people. I think what I learned most about myself is that I have the grit to keep going.
What's the best business advice you've ever gotten?
Okay, so the best business advice I've gotten was when we first started. Because I think as entrepreneurs, you're constantly pitching yourself, right? Like, this is why you should listen to me. This is why you should work with me. And I remember when I was at the Harvard Innovation Lab, the director always came to me at the end of the day and he said, "What did you learn today, Rose?" And I couldn't answer him because all I did was pitch. So I didn't learn anything. When he kept asking me this every day, I realized, okay, I need to really figure out like what I'm learning. So instead of pitching all the time, I started asking questions because I was surrounded by experts, right? Everybody is an expert in something. And so you just have to figure out what it is. So once I started meeting with my mentors or people who were interested in the business, I stopped pitching them and I started asking them, well, what do you think? What do you like about this brand? Or what makes you most afraid of insects? And it actually worked way better. So I encourage all entrepreneurs to ask questions rather than pitch. And people like to talk about themselves.
Yeah, that's true. You endear yourself.
Exactly. They're like, wow, that was such a great meeting. Because it's like, yeah, you talked about yourself.
That is true. I ask everybody, do you have a question for the audience? Like anything that you're curious about, you want feedback on?
I guess I want to know what gets people up in the mornings. That's something that I'm very curious about.
That's a good one. All right, what gets you out of bed? Answer, comment below. Let us know. We're going to end it there.
Thank you.
Wave goodbye to the
Bye-bye.
internet atmosphere. Listen, if you want to go eat you some cricket chips, I got to tell you, again, I taste tested them. They're so good, so go get you some at chirpschips.com. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, y'all. Now we have 20 minutes to pack everything up and get out of here. Oh, so wait, what's happening now? What's going on now?
We gotta go.
Where are we going?
We're going to the airport.
You sure we got everything?
Why don't you do a look around?
Wait, you put some things in
I
here?
know.
There's a mini bottle of liquor. I don't know what somebody was doing in here. There's a really nice umbrella.
No.
No. Okay, no, but I am a good person. Everybody, it's on camera. All right, we're out. I heard this building is like 100 years old.
Can you give me your
How
card?
pretty it is. I'm busy. Look at this. Look at this. It's real. Wait, they still use it.
Look at this thing.
Oh my gosh. seriously dope. I just gotta say, like, our post office box is so basic. San Francisco Merchants Exchange. Is this the San Francisco Merchants Exchange? This was like the building where business was done. These were the prominent members.
We gotta go.
All white dudes. Whole bunch of white dudes. Well, I mean, I don't know, that made me really happy. Like, that's very fitting that we did this show here, right?
Is it recording?